This is the second part to the 0066 series. We'll be going over this group and who they associate themselves with, along with some of the people who have supposedly been my victims. Doodle Tones. I've wanted to talk about him for quite some time, but there's just a lot to unpack. They're one of the people responsible for the CC having been brutally fucked into the dirt, into this snowstorm shitfest, a mangled and sickly husk just drooling on itself, begging to be mercy killed. The community isn't walking on eggshells, it's walking on glass, and the moment your feet get cut and they smell that blood, they cannibalize you. It doesn't matter if you were once friends or if you wanted to stand by an ideal. With the way these individuals work, you have to be shallow. You have to be able to abandon your ideals the moment they don't agree. They think that they set the standards for everyone, that they dictate everyone else. Doodle Tones was no doubt a part of the reason it's now like this, having thrown the sickly, moaning, groaning, drooling husk of the CC into a trunk and backing it into a river. I hope this paints a relatively good picture. Sean made his channel on October 25th, 2011, which means the anniversary is coming up, if not already passed by the time this video comes out. Which is, depending, possibly perfect timing. He apparently started doing commentaries in 2015. He's 23 years old, as he was born in 1997. One of the first few things I'd like to cover is Doodle Tones' constant hypocrisy. For example, Doodles, in a response telling someone named Perrypuss Productions that if you can't take criticism, get off the internet. This happened in March of 2016, based on the information provided by Doodles' wiki, which is no doubt probably biased considering Doodles has a wiki account. Now that criticism is fair until you dig into an ounce of Sean's past. However, in September of 2016, Sean blocked a lot of people on Twitter, and even had this to say about disabling comments on the infamous video, Kink Shaming Isn't My Fetish, where he cried about Mr. Metacore making fun of deviant art, degenerate artists. Okay, fine, correction. I can take it to an extent. Then if it has an extent, get off the internet. Now I know he will most likely try and logically break it down and claim that it's different. No, Sean, it's not. It's not different at all. Don't tell someone to leave if they can't take it, then spurg out because you can't. He blocked a lot of people on Twitter, apparently 61 accounts. And because Sean was called out for making a big deal of dislikes, which is to be expected when you're punching up, he told the person to jump in a ditch and die. Let's take a look at this thread where Sean's spurging out because his video had backlash. The ironic statement here is, of course you wouldn't get this through because all you're here to do is just shit on people who do things you don't like, which is precisely what you've done in Madlib's video and to others throughout your entire time in the commentary community. And before people try and say that's exactly what I do, underage character porn, lying, and hypocrisy are completely different from trying to judge someone's freedom of speech and their opinions because they don't conform to yours. There's a big difference. Doodle Tones says, I hope someone laughs at your funeral and pisses on your grave. And if it is Todd, allow me to say, Todd, do something useful for society and die. And if it wasn't Todd, I don't care, get shot, please. You know what, Todd? Go jump in a ditch and die. We don't need to hear this shit coming from someone who produces no content. Oh, and Vernier, fuck off, I didn't tell Todd to kill himself. I told him to die. And someone asks, that makes it better? Sean responds with, I mean, a little bit, technically. If he doesn't want to die, we have a problem because it's inhumane. Now remember, in Madlib's video, Doodle Tones took part of, they ripped the context of what I was doing right out of it. Last I recall, it wasn't that, so if the context doesn't matter in their video, well, here you go. Doodle Tones is also known for trying to break things down, trying to use logic, but as shown in part 1, his logic can easily be picked apart. It's basically Oblivion dialogue tangents. Another example of his poor logic would drive home the point. Take note of this. This is evidence of him denying the diaper fetish as well. There's plenty more of this denial, but I think this'll do. He states in this tweet, but in all honesty, the more I think about this diaper fetish assumption, the less sense it makes. He goes on to say, it's like in their mind, diaper fetishism is worse than cancer, so using this logic, I support something worse than cancer. No, Sean, Devin the Entertainer, YTB didn't even mention cancer in their statement, and you essentially make a drastic assumption just to fit. You don't know what logic is at all. Likes and makes diaper fetish art and roleplay, but remember guys, Sean doesn't have a fetish, he just supports it. Another example is Sean comparing the criticism he got from trying to defend vile fetishes to this. Oh, you said my paintings had a smudge on it, let me saw off your legs and beat you with them. He's also defended Ben the Looney, But in Madlib's video, he claims he wasn't aware of what Ben was doing. He literally claimed people are prude out because of Ben's more open ideals towards nudity and pornography. You were literally covering a video expressing the problems with Ben, the underage character porn. Don't try and change what you did because it haunts you.
So, Ben the Looney came back under fire in 2018, and dear Christ, has no one learned from the likes of Missy R. People still prude out over Ben's more open ideals towards nudity and pornography, and decide to make up any issue they can to call Ben a pedophile or a sexual predator. Even if he's merely defending ideals that state when somebody isn't hurting anybody, then it shouldn't matter what they draw. This sparked the likes of several annoying commentaries on him, 2 of which come from Arkham Knight Rider.
Sean has a history of throwing people under the bus for criticism repeatedly. A good example would be actually how the entire alt-CC and neo-CC thing started. I want to suggest checking out both Pink Robot's videos on Sean, and even that kid Douglas did a very good video covering Doodle Tones and his repeated greasy behavior. Take a look at those videos. They all define and show Sean's character. Lastly, if you are watching Sean, this is to you directly. You are a fine example as to why the current commentary community is broken. Your side of the community preaches this social justice, and yet here you are still roaming around. You're still a part of it. You're friends with people who preach that. You are one of the many people, one of the largest stepping stones into this point of the commentary community, where it's absolute garbage. Constant hypocrisy, lying, weak ideals, lack of integrity, people's inability to stand for something and cave when you pressure them, or when the current status quo for the community doesn't support it. The entire FCK is a fine example of that too. It caved in on itself because it was tackling too much, taking on too much weight while trying to cannibalize on itself. Just because you make a video confessing doesn't mean your actions didn't happen. And for you to take part in a video trying to call me out for being supposedly a terrible person, whilst also self-aware of how vile you are, it's the greatest joke of them all. You're gross, and your very existence within that side of the commentary community, whilst they preach self-righteous justice that can be flipped on itself. A fine example was the mockery I made of it during the Madame drama. Now the Lucy drama, because Madlibs had decided to resurrect that, twisting and manipulating it, to weaponize it against me. We now have to slay this beast again. Though being already mostly dead and terribly manipulated, it'll be an easy thing to pick apart. First, a brief summary of what got it started. Basically, Fuchsia Butters, aka Lucy, decided to make a video on me slandering and lying about me. And I picked it apart easily, handed him his L, and went about my day. And then I had learned of the server and its constant shit-talking of me. So I joined, addressed things, and trolled until I was removed. Of course, I had taken screenshots of what was found, and more than hundreds of screenshots backed in my archives, but I left an alt inside to keep an eye. Foxed and the Freak Show decided to make a video, which mostly reformatted the points I already smacked down, but they persisted even further, making another video on the subject. So as I had previously promised, I began to work on the earliest forms of the content Nagasaki. This video consisted of me and some friends going through the screenshots and segments and having a good laugh in a Discord call. This video was ironically around the length of part 1, if not longer. Silver, one of my closest friends, had gotten me into the server, and I actually got to meet my friend group through them. Come to think of it, I wouldn't know any of them if I didn't check my Instagram's general message tab. While I was in Lucy's server, getting to know the server's members and getting a much better grasp, coming to the realization the server had a much worse issue than cringy angst, overall horniness, and I don't mean simple sex jokes. I mean full-fledged sexual conversations about positions, details, and there's unfortunately more. There were minors and adults sharing inappropriate images of themselves throughout the server, a confirmed pedophile, underage character porn, including Ruby incest, Futanari incest, Zelda from the Breath of the Wild, My Hero Academia, a lot of fucky shit. Along with this, Lucy had also defended the My Hero Academia porn twice. Keep in mind the images he was defending depicting these minors had them in their school uniforms. Freshman uniforms. His justification was the breasts being large, so they couldn't possibly be a minor, which doesn't work. A fine example of this that's relevant was Lucy's bad video on Ben Looney. Let me state this before someone twists this. Calling Ben out was good. The issue that caused the fall of the FCK was the hypocrisy in doing such.
When it was found out that he posted a completed version of a CP sketch which people in the Fruitcake Club told him not to post. Until Toasty Vanilla and Toby informed me of everything. The fact that he's had a massive and expansive history of pedophilic actions, screenshots of him defending CP, screenshots of him posting drawn CP, etc., etc.
that spread throughout several members, causing the group to fester in what those members propagated. In that video, Lucy showed this.
This is not taking someone like Momo Yaoyorozu, Azula, or Misty and drawing them with clearly aged up features like this.
Momo from My Hero Academia. Ironically, her breasts are fucking massive as a means of aging it up. Fucking gross. I mocked this poor justification by putting this in a scenario skit, but Madlibs attempted to twist that for her poorly put together narrative. Then we have the infamous Azula tweet that Lucy has most likely deleted. The image was Azula, a 14-year-old in a red bikini, I think. The caption was, "Step on me." After Blue Juice made a video covering Lucy's immaturity, lack of responsibility for his own server, when it's to be a representation in place of his fanbase to interact, and the serious issues about the server. After, Fox added I and Lucy to a Discord group chat where Lucy was curious as to what would be in my video, where I said I don't want to spoil the fun. Lucy then pushed for the drama to be dropped once I stated everything would be brought up. I then followed up, focusing on Lucy as a whole with my content Nagasaki, as promised. Immediately after, Lucy made a thread lying his ass off, trying to retcon or twist things so that it would make me the bad guy, when all I did was return what Lucy dished out, minus the lies, hypocrisy, and slander. I tore that thread apart with my End of Fuchsia Butters video, which covered the thread, its lies, and covered a lot of the misconceptions that spawned after Lucy tried the "he's calling me a pedophile" to escape criticism. Lucy lied about me calling him a pedo. Lucy lied about me harassing trans people. Specifically said my Google document was harassment to CJ. Lied about not being in the SFW sections of his Discord, and lied about not knowing my age. Lucy even deleted the tweet with Azula, but put that same image in his video on Bin the Looney.
This is not taking someone like Momo Yaoyorozu, Azula, or Misty and drawing them with clearly aged up features like this.
Which means he most likely had this image saved on one of his devices. We don't have evidence of it, but the fact that the image was there and is also in the video, it either means two things. It was either saved, or he went back to find the image to put in his video.
How dare this person do this? Oh my god, this fucking tweet that they made, oh my god. Blah, blah, blah.
Now, Toby, the Dollar Tree Belle Delphine. For a bit of history, Toby Majestic was involved in the Bin the Looney drama, where she, Fuchsia Butters, and Toasty consistently called Ben a pedophile and said he drew child porn, or CP, which only bit her in the ass considering she's also drawn it and posted it on both her art and her sex work account. Todoroki and Sailor Moon, a 14 and 16-year-old.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer. This is so much cancer that I can feel the tumors growing on my back. And it's weighing down heavy on me, and it's not okay. Can you help a nigga out and just stop this? Please?
She also cited she was going to blackmail Trent, aka One Man Show Off, for being friends with Ben. She also tried to play victim and claim Ben was shaming her for being a sex worker, which Lucy pushed that narrative as well.
But essentially, Toby is privately a sex worker and has made many efforts to keep it separate from her YouTube channel, which she has every right to do. However, someone we all knew leaked this information publicly while defending Ben and the Looney's actions, and this was absolutely unacceptable. To anyone who would shame Toby for being a sex worker, you're absolutely pathetic subhuman garbage, and I want nothing to do with you.
But really, they just exposed her threatening him. Here's the important takeaway. She's also friends with Toasty and Lucy, who are both proven to be into it, yet ignores that entirely. This is one of the many points I made on Twitter that Madlibs tried to twist into her own favor. Now in comes Kai and Omnia. While they also had good points, those videos did not come without their flaws. And to be fair, one of their flaws was the race point. However, Toby then plays victim and claims Kai and Omnia are calling her a pedophile, when they quite literally stated in that video that they were not calling her a pedophile. And Mad Cow, of course, hopped on this like a bitch in heat. You'll notice that the entire FCK will call other pedophiles for underage character porn. But when they're called out for that kind of thing, they try and play it the other way around. Toby, Madlibs, Nezzy, Lucy, and Toasty have all done this. Toby also supports Shane Dawson, said she was going to continue to support him no matter what. A favor, a forever sort of thing. Support him forever in her little tantrum video.
I'm sorry. I support Shane Dawson. I've been a fan of his ever since 2010. I've been a fan of PewDiePie. Even when he had the video where he said death to all Jews, I'm still a supporter. I'm floor game for life. Floor game for life.
Of course, she later claimed she no longer supported his actions, but then she also tried to defend his actions by mentioning brain development in the same exact video. Which, by the way, brain development is not an excuse at all for a grown man to look up child porn, call a child sexy, ask children to twerk, and even kiss children. Hey Toby, why is it you can try and cancel Ben for drawing underage character porn when you also draw it? Why is it a real pedophile who is into real children you still support? Why is it you attack Ben's friends for just being friends with him, yet you have friends who are into the exact same shit? Now I'm going to get into some of the other lies or hypocrisy this group has that pertains to Toby. First being, if both Lucy and Madlibs called me out for deleting evidence when I never actually did it, as proven in part 1, why is it they have also done it? And Toby is no different. She tried to delete her lying. Back in September, before Madlib's video, I and Toby had a long thread where I criticized her for wearing elf ears on stream, and Madlibs, like the dumbass she is, showed the original screenshot including Toby's tweet, which Toby tried to delete, and thankfully LOL Cow Farms put our thread together in a nice long image. Now I once criticized a post which contained a video where she was wearing elf ears in a stream clip. This video, which I have saved.
I just got a list of people I'm IP banning. I'm not a mother, stop it!
And said this. Which you'll notice, that tweet that Madlib shows, the one with the video, has since been deleted. As well, in the long thread, she claims she's never streamed before, and that she doesn't even own elf ears. Which this takes place after she posted that stream clip. And if true, why is it she has them on in that clip? She even likes to wear them when sucking away at a BBC dildo for $9.99.
I've never streamed before, nor have I even owned elf ears. I've never streamed before, nor have I even owned elf ears.
It's the thirstiest time of the year.
I think I've made my point. In the video addressing my controversies, she claims she doesn't like cancel culture, yet made this tweet about me and tried to cancel Ben for something she has also done.
But I do not and will still not support cancel culture. I do not and will not support people who hold things done in people's pasts against them when those people have addressed it. They don't do it anymore, and they're actively working on changing and being different people from when they were back then. But I do not and will still not support cancel culture.
Get what you fucking deserve!
And also here's where she tries to defend the whole thing with brain development.
But I do not and will still not support cancel culture. I do not and will not support people who hold things done in people's pasts against them when those people have addressed it. They don't do it anymore, and they're actively working on changing and being different people from when they were back then. The whole argument of this person was a full-grown adult, this person was this person was this. No, your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that deals with impulse control, what you say and what you do, that does not stop developing. You do not stop developing as a person until your mid to late 20s. People change from when they're younger to when they are older. I feel that if you've apologized for it, and you've moved on from it, and you've shown change over the years, that holding somebody's past still against them after that is fucking dumb, and it's a waste of time. I will not support it. You can still not like that person, but stop advocating like you're sending the march. This is the new movement against this person. Like, no, I'm sorry. Your efforts could be better used somewhere else. Of somebody like Onision's a great fucking example. Somebody who...
I'm gonna say this again. Brain development is not an excuse for a grown man to be looking up child porn, kissing an underage girl, asking underage girls to twerk. No, it is not. And yet you defend such a person, while simultaneously attack what you call child porn, while also having done it yourself. And also here's the part where she says she no longer supports him.
But for the Shane thing, I want to make this very, very clear, just for those who got lost in my rambles. I apologize. I do not support the things that Shane did in his past years. I do not support the jokes towards children that he's made in the past years. I also do not support any racially charged or racially insensitive jokes that he has told in the past. I support the person who he is now, a changed person who he was. However, when things happened with the Tati situation, I was very disappointed in him. I really was. I was disappointed in his involvement with the Tati and James Charles situation, even though I still think that the person who was the most at fault for what happened to James was still Tati, because it doesn't matter what Shane and Jeffrey and a bunch of other these nameless people were feeding you behind the screen, you still should have gone to James. And Tati has yet to apologize, even though Shane, I don't give a fuck about Jeffrey, number one. I literally have absolutely no opinion with him. I don't care. I literally don't care about Jeffrey. I don't fucking care. But Shane actually did make an apology, and I really do think it was sincere, and I really do think that he's going to try to be better, so I'm going to stay on the sidelines and wait to see what kind of person he grows from this. I do think it was a learning experience for him, and I just hope he can move on with his life with it. I want to see people change. I want to see people get better, and I support people getting better. And I think that should be a more normalized thing, and it's really not.
They attacked Kai and Omnia for calling Toby Majestic out, and they have attacked and hammered at me for calling them out after they came at me. It's honestly strange that after I mentioned the possibility of covering Toby Majestic and bringing up the Sailor Moon, tagging Mad Libs into it, she starts hinting to a video being made on me, which is the one that I covered prior. On Twitter. Maybe that's why they consistently push the don't take him seriously perspective, but yet contradicted their own suggestion, taking everything seriously just to make a video.
Burn dolls, yes. By the way, you ever gonna give your side on the Toby drama? I'm not gonna talk about that.
Why?
Why what? Be specific, Bob.
Like I said, my biggest issue is that people give Strawberry Milk a pass for drawing this sort of thing because she labels her work as trauma art. Now, I'm not going to tell her how to feel or that she shouldn't use art as her therapy. I personally just think that you can draw your thing without having it include children drinking piss.
Now, this person who made a video on me decided to take a Boku no Hero Academia picture that I drew a couple of years ago and basically said, she said CP is wrong, but drew this. Also, this person tried to make it sound like my work and Ben the Looney's work was the same, so I'm technically a hypocrite, but I'm sorry, I've never ever drawn any underage characters with their dicks out fucking somebody else, while somebody who is underage looks underage and is drawn exactly how they are in the cartoon where they are 9, filming them fucking each other when they are all still physically of the age that they are in the cartoon, which is 12. I've never ever drawn anything like that, and that's the majority of all Ben the Looney's work, so nice try. I've never ever drawn anything like that. And number 4, he's not really being sexual. It was supposed to be a dark piece about abuse. That's all it was. It's just supposed to be a dark artistic piece. I just tagged NSFW tags because I thought that's how tagging worked. I thought you would just tag anything that was remotely relevant. And once again, I didn't know the character's age. I did not know that they were 16. They looked like an adult to me. For you to try to insinuate that I drew them with the knowledge that they were a child is false.
Off the internet, it's still gonna somehow follow you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what alt account you use. It's gonna happen.
I mean, I don't think it really will, Kumu, but like whatever, we'll see.
Toasty Vanilla, a former member of the FCK, supposedly, who I called out for his utter hypocrisy and liking to sexualized images of underage characters. It all started when the FCK decided to cut ties with Ben the Looney, an artist who draws underage character porn, and then publicly go after Ben. Who did they choose for this task? Quite literally the worst people for the job. Fuchsia, Toby, Toasty. Fuchsia, who, as we've discussed, does like and has defended underage character porn. Toby, who tried to blackmail Trent, one-man show off for being friends with Ben, whilst friends with Lucy and Toasty, and having drawn it herself. Toasty, who is following Shadman, an artist infamous for drawing underage character porn. He liked it, we caught him twice, he admitted to doing it 5 times in the call. In another call, he tried to rationalize underage character porn, specifically Teen Titans. He was even going to be in a video with Toby, attacking Ben. Toasty would constantly step on his own arguments, an all-around hypocrite. Honestly, a prime example of the type of person to change his argument to whatever is best for him in the moment, kinda like Toby. Toasty had also tried to do the "you're calling me a pedophile," whilst Parker did use that term, I literally said no, I don't think you're a pedophile. In the call and in the video itself, I stated I don't think he's a pedophile. No, Madlibs. Madlibs and I really didn't actually start our drama until she started running her mouth in the Lucy drama. She was quote-unquote supporting a friend, and each time you've done that, the Toby drama, the Nezzy stuff, this is where it gets you. It doesn't work well for you. Ever. It doesn't work well for any of you. She preached this, you need integrity, whilst the entire FCK has shown to have none. Your video shows you all have none. The constant lies, cropping of screenshots to fit your narrative, changing the past to fit it, editing screenshots to fit it, the contradicting your own claims with your repetitive actions. This is what's forever attached to you all. The FCK, your lies, your constant contradictions. And I know you care about your public reputation. You all need it. You need your communities to like and agree with everything you do. And the moment they don't, you fucking backpedal and retcon. Which, as seen now with Lucy, Toby, and Toasty, it doesn't work anymore. People are finally coming to realize just how grotesque it really is. The ideology that you need people to like and support you or you lose is laughable and utterly pathetic. You subscribe to that kind of thinking, the want for a social status. And honestly, it makes me more curious as to what insecurities are buried within this cow to even think like she does. The conclusion. I have a question for you all watching that I'd like you to answer or think about after this. Is this really the role models you want for your community? People who would throw anyone under the bus to save their own skin? People who attack someone, and when it bites them in the ass, they play victim? Toby, Lucy, Madlibs, they've all done this. Are these really the good people you put them out to be? Are you really going to ignore the stockpile of evidence on them? The social justice standards that they carry and point down upon others, that they expect you, as a viewer, to carry. But they don't hold themselves accountable to it. They don't hold themselves to what they preach. The FCK literally pulled a Spocter situation, and it's proven they had evidence against it, but didn't share it to you. You as a viewer, these people want your trust. These people want you to listen to them, and you're perfectly okay with them pushing that something is true when they had evidence against it. When they push that others do the same thing they're doing, are you okay with that as a viewer? As someone that is invested in this community? Are these really trustworthy people? After all this evidence, showing them willingly slandering others when they judge those who also do it, claiming they have integrity and others don't when their actions show they don't. Are they really to not be held accountable for this? Are you really going to let them dictate you and your thoughts on others when they cannot hold themselves to their own takes? These role models you have, that you worship, are you going to allow them to pull the rest of the community down? The commentary community could flourish like it once did, but when these people came along, it's practically slowly being choked of any life. When I said the community is walking on glass, and the moment your feet are cut and they smell that blood, I'm referring to them. They have you as a community eat them alive for the principles they push, but they don't hold themselves accountable for. It's tyrannical, it's controlling, and it's manipulative. And lastly, that's not how a community based on freedom of expression should conduct itself. You, as the community, while I don't rely on you agreeing with me, they do. They want you to be a part of this circle jerk. So I want to know you, as a viewer, who is interested in these individuals. Are you really going to allow them to get away with what they've done? Are you really going to do their bidding and attack and judge others for claims when the exact same claims, if not worse, they have done, and you're going to ignore that and allow them to stand on this moral pedestal? This community needs to be better. You all need to be better. You need to hold these people accountable for what they preach. Otherwise, they're just going to keep doing it over and over and over again. And we get the situation with Toby, and we get the situation where we have people behind the scenes trying to manipulate it and actually defend her actions. I like Jar, but at the same time, that was gross. That video was 100% gross. And they used him, no doubt, as a tool to try and save Toby. Are these really the individuals you're going to want to worship and look up to as role models? Or are you going to step up to the plate? Are you going to hold them accountable for what they preach and what they want you to preach with them? I want you to think about that. My goal is not to cancel them. What I like to do is let the evidence out there and watch what happens. So, I'm putting this in your hands as a community. What are you going to do? Are you going to allow them to walk all over you? Are you going to allow them to contradict what they have been telling you? Or are you going to stand up, hold those ideals that they have been masquerading with, that they've practically been mocking you in your face with, and show that this community isn't going to keep getting dragged down by assholes behind a computer screen who think that they can do whatever they want and get away with it. No, actually, better yet, they think that they can judge others and say consequence this, consequence that. But the moment those same consequences are applied to them, they try and weasel their way out. Is that what you want for this community? Are you going to allow that to happen? Are you going to step up to the plate? I'm curious. As a spectator, I want to see what you guys are going to do. That's all I have to say. If you have an answer to that, or at the very least think about that, let that sort of resonate in your head a little bit.